Good afternoon, guys. One day closer to the spring game. I thought we got out of today's practice healthy, so I know. I think as of right now, we would go forward with our normal spring game format, which is exciting, and I think we'll be able to do that. Questions?
Kyle, when you look at the spring game, and I know it's kind of like the thing for the fans, do you view it as Thursday's your most important, or your final practice, your real intense practice, or you view the spring game as an important barometer?
I don't know that we'll do everything on Saturday that we've done it in the practices, but I think the one thing that Saturday gives you that the other days don't is a game day atmosphere, and I do think there's value to that. So Thursday is very important. It's the next practice we have. We want to take full advantage of it, but I do think the spring game is unique because there'll be quite a few fans there, families will be there, and when you as a player have to perform in that environment, it takes experience to do it. And I think for some of these younger guys who've never had to perform in that environment, it'll be a good way to gauge for us, how ready they are to do it.
Kyle, have you decided how you're going to split the team? So it'll be, I don't know, one offense versus the one's offense versus the one's defense. Will Delmonte and Nova be quarterbacks for opposite teams?
I have not. We have not looked into the details of it yet, but it will be two different teams, scarlet and white, and we'll probably decide after Thursday's practice how we'll divide them up.
How involved do you see yourself being on Saturday, or will you kind of let the coordinators do it so you can meet with recruits?
I'm going to be a little more involved. I'm going to meet with recruits before and afterwards, but I'll be a little more involved than I have been the first 2 years. I'll be down there on the field this year.
How come?
I think I want to control the scrimmage. I want to blow the whistles on the quarterback. Sometimes, we'll have Big Ten officials here, and when you put them in a situation where they have to decide if it's a sack or not a sack, there'll be certain plays I want to let go a little bit longer, or maybe it would have been a sack, but I want to see, some of the skill players play a little bit. So, I can control, I think, the pace and the tempo of everything better if I'm down there.
Where's the offensive line depth at? Are you concerned with that now?
I'm definitely concerned with it. I don't think we have enough of it. I think we're a lot closer now than we were at the beginning of spring. Guys like Derek Nelson, J.J. Denman, Ryan Brody, Ryan Leone, these guys are coming on for us, but we're still in a situation where we've got 5 guys on our roster. They won't all play in the spring game, but 5 on our roster who've played, and a lot of guys who are trying to get the opportunity to play. So I think we've made progress, but I don't. That'll be another focal point as we enter fall camp as well.
Are you satisfied with the first 7? I know you always have 2 guys you like to go in. Is that closer to being settled, maybe?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we've still got a lot of work to do up front.
Kyle, what kind of knowledge has Mitch Browning brought to the program for what you guys are trying to do, becoming a more consistent running football team and then going to the Big Ten?
Yeah, I think he's been very valuable to the offense. I do think we've made progress. I think when that first 5 was able to be in there together, that was probably when it was most clear. But I thought we did some good things on Saturday with some guys in there from the second team working with the first team, and I think Mitch has brought a different level of toughness to that group up front.
Kyle, when it's 5 offensive coordinators in 5 years, I know it's only 3 for you, but 5 in 5 years for the program, does it feel like starting over every spring, or is there more carryover than you would expect when there's that much changeover?
No, I think there is carryover, and there's carryover in scheme, but there are subtle differences. There's no doubt, and I think the one thing that we've been able to be consistent with, over the past 4 years, is that we've stayed true to our pro-style offense. So the run schemes, whether gap schemes, zone schemes, those things have been consistent. But every time you have a new person coordinating the offense, terminology changes a little bit. And I think the players have done a good job this spring adapting to it, and I think that's why we've been able to be a little more productive offensively as we've gone on.
You obviously landed a big offensive coordinator, but you were an assistant coach for a long time. Do assistant coaches pay attention to that? Like, when you were hiring someone, was anybody concerned that there's been that much changeover at offensive coordinator or any position really, I guess?
No, I think, you look around the country as an assistant coach or a position coach, I think you see change on a lot of staffs. So for us in the profession, we're used to working with different people and different groups of people, and as a coach, once you've worked in a couple different systems, there's really only so many that you're going to work in. But for the players, it does take a little bit longer. It's not what they do 24 hours a day like it is what we do as coaches. But again, the differences are subtle. They're not major because we haven't changed philosophically what we are. I think that's been the most important thing.
Kyle, with the move to the Big Ten, how has your recruiting pitch, changed in Florida, given that those kids have fewer opportunities to play in their home state now that they're in a new conference?
It really hasn't. I think the bowl tie-ins that the Big Ten has down in Florida are very attractive to those players. And I think ultimately, the players in high school that want to play at an elite level, they want to have an opportunity to compete for championships, for Big Ten championships, for national championships. And ever since we started going down to Florida, we've always talked about we're down here recruiting because we're trying to recruit the best players to help Rutgers win a national championship. And that'll start in the state of Rutgers, and Florida's always been a part of that for us.
Kyle, what have you
Two
seen
more.
from when you look at what have you seen from Joe Roth this spring? Is he like established as the guy you feel going forward?
He's the guy on our roster right now, who would be the number one if we had to play today. I don't know that I'd be ready to name him the number one for the starting game just yet. But I think Joe's had a good spring. But we're going to evaluate it in its entirety, at the end and look at the averages. He's not seeing a lot of live blocks with the intensity that you see on game day, so there's a little bit of an unknown commodity there. But I do think he's had a good spring.
When you look at spring practice and you come into it and you're unsure if certain kids will be able to play in the fall, have any of them shown you enough already that say, yeah, we're going to be able to count on this person on the 2 in the fall?
I think there's some guys that have moved a lot closer than where they were. I don't know that I'd be ready to just yet to say that this guy's ready right now after 13 practices. But a guy like Julian Penix, I think, has had an excellent spring. I think he's done a good job. He's a guy who's going to play a lot of football for us next year. But I think he's going to need training camp to be ready to do that. So I don't know that I'd say he's ready today. The same thing with a guy like Derek Nelson and J.J. Denman. I think we're going to need him next year. And would I say that they're ready today? No. That's why the summer program and the training camp, why those things are so critical. Guys like Sebastian Joseph, Kamoko Toure, L.J. Liston, those guys would all be in that same category.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.